So in America, we have a male genital mutilation problem. Now, they want to talk about you have the problem with the Muslim genital mutilation. But you know what? That's just more the same old propaganda. It's designed to make you look at the Arabs and think of something overseas that in America's got nothing to do with it. And then so they invent the European problem. And one thing no one ever says it does is it, it's teaching these people to hate the Muslims who, and or Arabs who really, there was no reason in America except for 9/11, and then the so-called truthers came out and they started talking about the 9/11 being an inside job. And then the leader of the truthers led you to the alt right, who tells you it's the dancing Arabs. So, again, that even brings into question 9/11 again. Like, why? Just like, I mean, it's illogical to follow that, but talking about it might not be as useful as it sounds because they like to lie. So, why did they tell you that if they like to lie, right? So, you have these same people leading you, and they're just taking you from one theme to another, and the other thing they're taking you to is anti-Arabism, and that was like kind of their whole purpose, right? Alex Jones was to protect his family, who was involved in 9/11. Alex Jones' family would be the perpetrators if it were an inside job, right? Because then it probably wasn't the Muslims, but it also could have been an inside job, but then they just actually paid Arabs to do something. So it doesn't really matter. What matters is who controls America. And they have this propaganda that just makes you go on and hate, hate, hate. And so they don't even care that like every male in America has had their genitals mutilated for this covenant with their slave masters. But they want you to hate the Arabs because they have that issue with needing the land and needing those people dead. So they've got to push something, right? They push everything. It's not they got to push something. It's they got to push everything. Apparently, just like any way they possibly can, it'll be done, and then they'll make up some ways too. So you got to think about that. Why did they make it popular to talk about Arab genital mutilation? And it's just simply to make you look over there, like Barack's a Muslim. Like, and see, this is the cycle, and this is the repeated theme. It's a really basic theme how the show is set up. It's got a just like the reoccurring things, like in everything, in all in all kinds of ways you can't even think of, like the web of deception. The spider web literally is designed to trap you and stuff, and it and when you put it on a diagram, oh, the networks they create are like web shooting out, like so. You see these cycle. You see a cycle and a pattern in everything if you know what you're looking at, or accidentally look at something differently, and then realize that was incorrect the first way to look at it. So they're telling you all about this because they want you to think Obama's a Muslim and American Barack's not a Jewish name, and Americans don't mutilate their children's genitals too. And that's like a whole big program they got going on here. Like the government and the police guard the buildings they chop baby penises in. Like, just think of that statement. The police guard and make sure you don't come in with weapons to hurt anybody chopping any baby's penises off. That's literally what it's there for. They're not there guarding the taco stand selling concessions or the soda pop machine. You can steal from the soda pop machine. They're guarding the people doing this work. They're selling drugs too. They were involved in a grand conspiracy to sell drugs at the same time. They're involved in this grand conspiracy to mark a child and brand it as a slave. It's a slave branding. It's not even a brand saying you're special, you're chosen. They don't do it to themselves. They do something else, something insane to themselves. And now like they're throwing out the talking point. Oh, we're changing this. Like less people are doing it. It's like, yeah, because they try to change this stuff as fast as you get on to them. As soon as you can point them out, they slip out the back door. Like they've been doing this for a long time. They know how to slip out a back door. The back door is the only door they use. They don't use the front door. So they just want you to kill Arabs with this propaganda because this is really going on in America. And it's another thing that shows you the pattern of white. The pattern of white is like white men like invented worship of the female. It seems to be a white thing. I shouldn't say that. That makes women hate me, I think. Especially like people seem to be hate being told who they are. I kind of like it. Like no one ever tells me. They act like I know so much, and it's like I don't know shit. But they act like they hate me when I talk about some of that, and I think it's because people just don't like you saying something that they may construe negative. It's like if it's negative or it's positive, it's like part of you, you know. Either way you're going to deal with it. The best way to deal with it is to know that and accept it. And accept what's going on. And know what's going on. You know, and know it that's how you this is back to the cycle of the original. We're back to the solution to the whole thing. Training yourself to think. It fixes the problem. That's the answer to the question. Training yourself to think so you can outthink them. That's the answer. The answer isn't me raising a flag and saying "Hail Victory." It would only be a hail victory if you got the people to learn to think for themselves, which maybe they used to be able to do that, and they're just taught not to, and they're drugged down not to, and I don't know, are they dropping chemicals in the air too? I mean, you're getting drugs through your water and through your doctors. So, yeah, the drugging's happening. This 1984 stuff was, or when Orwell wrote 1984, it was already going on. He was scared to call it 1920 or 1940, because then they'd be like on him, like, you know what's going on. When that book was clearly written at a time when they understood what was happening. That's how I know that. Not because he wrote it anywhere, but you gotta, to understand it as much as he understood it, he clearly had seen it already. And just like today, you might get disappeared if you start talking about the wrong stuff. Like they even fake disappear their own people to let you know that might happen. Although I haven't disappeared, but I'm still, I suspect a lot of stuff. I stay very quiet. I'm like a tech nerd. I can watch it. I feel computers. I feel them breathe more than I feel myself breathe, I think. So I don't feel myself breathe. They say that's because you get so used to doing it, you don't notice it. But I say maybe that's why sometimes I have to take a deep breath because I'm not even doing it. So the hate propaganda there, it's got to remain consistent. And but the answer to the solution, the answer to the problem, the solution is actually to like ignore that and just move forward, work on yourself. You know, and at the same time when when they have these underground alt right sites teaching people to hate, they teach you that because it's taking away your time. It's all about taking away your time. If you did something to work towards the solution, you would get to an answer eventually or an attempted answer. But if you just watch stupid stuff like programs teaching you to hate other people rather than better yourself, it's just designed to waste your time. It's not. The end goal is the opposite over here, and the end goal over there is like really more what you're looking for. And that's all part of the government propaganda there, too. So, I mean, it's all. I'm trying to figure out what isn't government propaganda or who isn't the people working with them. In fact, everyone in the nation works for them. But they seem like there are certain people who just seem more shaved than others. But you gotta watch when they start telling you to hate someone. It doesn't matter who it is or what it is, because they both sides play into a story and they just push it so it becomes everything you focus on. Just like, oh, someone hated someone else, and or oh, look, this person, we're calling them a terrorist, so hate them, or this person, he's a hero, so love him. You gotta stop falling for that stuff. That's not real. That's just propaganda. Everything seems to be there for a reason. Even like the controlled stuff to show you often that it is, staged. Even the controlled stuff seems to be pretty staged. Like Alex Jones, like look at me confronting Caitlyn Bennett. She doesn't. She like head, dude. Like it's like a vampire with a cross to it or something. She like acted like a liberal. I mean, she did everything she claimed she wasn't there for. And I didn't realize how well I could have played that with the liberals there, and the, I could have become the liberals' hero. But I was like, I was pissing them off so bad for that first 15 minutes because, honesty, man. I was just like fucking letting them know, like they think they're fucking bleeding heart, but they're really not helping the situation. But so you've got to like point this out. On the liberal side, you've got to point out what's really going on. That they're, why are they doing this? Why is Barack a Muslim name? It's not Barack, Braka. There's all sorts of different spellings, but it's all basically the same name. Barak. That's the Israeli spelling. And then there's other ones around it. So that means he probably got that name for a reason. And then they go on to say he's a Muslim, so they're pushing that Muslim hate. And you can just see by looking at the facts that there might be something other than Muslim to him. And you can see with the other facts that there's a group of people over here with names like Barak who are attacking Muslims and stealing their land. In fact, the name Barak isn't just any name, it's the name of a leader who runs that stolen land and used to run that stolen land in 12th century BC. And I'm sure tons of them exist. I looked it up and there was a lot of them. And if there's that many, and there's only 2% of them, then that's a ton. That many there was a handful in the government that I could find just with a quick search. In the government too, not just any. It's not just the name of a peasant Nigerian who's called himself a Jew. Is the others. And they use that to make the hate happen. They use these false narratives where they put on their Muslim mask and they make the narrative happen. Like, look at Tommy Robinson in the UK. He is the face of a group led by people who've attacked me, Robert Spencer, and then there's Pamela Geller, and then there's some others with the Israel Union or something like that, whatever they call it. So they're behind that too. And you got to look at all that stuff. They're behind RT, which runs liberal and Republican propaganda. One would say over 5 years ago, one only slightly in the know would say I'm wrong in its liberal propaganda. And today, the opposite would be said. They would, a person only mildly or halfway in the know of what Russia today is, they would say it is Republican propaganda. But the fact is it's two propagandas. It's both. They just run both. It depends on who you watch. You can watch Thom Hartman or you can watch someone else. And then they switched around. So whoever's whoever now. The important part is to not switch it back on once you learn that they're just saying whatever, whenever. Because it becomes, they just talk about the same thing as everyone else in the world. And they just have their little opinion on it. And it's the same government talking point. It doesn't change. It never does. I made it to the media before, and they smeared me really bad. Like every time. Like Robert Spencer tried to, but that was like, he was an idiot at the time. He didn't know I was just like fooling him, and then I laughed at him. I was just trying to sound stupid, so he would cover me. It's like, yeah. And it worked. I should go back to doing that. I should go back to talking like I'm really stupid and typing like I'm illiterate. Like, that worked. That would probably work. They'd be like, this stupid Nazi. It's like, yeah, okay, dude. Bait him with that. It probably would work. It worked on Spencer. I could never bait them after that. But Spencer is one of these people behind that propaganda, so you got to point that out. Would you really care about, like, ending the wars or lessening our attacks on these people? You know, stop robbing them, let them have their own lives. Then you've got to point out these people in these key positions, the positions of power. Each little section is just filled with the same people to some extent. Not always. but a lot, especially key positions. You got to watch out for uh, puppet positions too. There's fake positions that like a owner to a CEO. The CEO doesn't really matter, does it? The owner is the final word, but the CEO likely makes the decisions. There could always be a directive from the top down, but the CEO likely makes his own decisions because an owner who hires a CEO doesn't want doesn't even care to hear about that job. He wants to live a life or run other businesses, do other things. That's why he hires a CEO and takes a huge chunk of money to throw at that person. So when you're analyzing the hierarchy of the media or the organizations, that's an important skill to know. Important fact to know or likely thing. Sometimes you might get an owner who's still power hungry, doesn't realize how much money he's wasting by hiring a CEO and telling him what to do. But they're almost always leading these hate groups, and the hate propaganda is almost always slanted around them or even created by them. Like, because technically, when they did the Barack Obama was a Muslim propaganda, it was uh, if Barack is a Jewish name, we can assume Dunham was Jewish, and then we can assume that's why he got that name, and then we assume that he is one, so he himself is doing the propaganda. And then you got to realize that. Who's the person most complicit in the Obama is a Muslim propaganda? Obama, because he didn't just like instantly offer some proof or something, or he let it go on. He let the propaganda go on. Just like look at Lewinsky. Lewinsky was like a black male, right? But she was a Jewish lady, and they allowed that propaganda to happen. Bill Clinton didn't like sue that person for blackmail, just like that prostitute or porn star, uh, or both, that slept with Donald Trump. What about her? Well, she was blackmailing him basically. All these things the presidents go on with that stuff, but especially when it becomes like a 50% talking point in the media, it would be your job as president to solve some of the stuff like why doesn't Trump come out and say, what do you mean Russians control America, Jews do? Because he's a Jewish. His family's Jewish. He's protecting them. That's why he doesn't do that. That's why Obama doesn't stop the anti-Arab propaganda, the narrative that he's a Muslim. He's not a Muslim. He's a crackhead at best, man. You have to have more respect and honor than that to be a Muslim, at least, right? He was like a total puppet or something, man. That dude didn't seem to do anything. He was just black, so he got elected, or he was darker skin color, and who knows where that really came from. I mean, his dad, but the, look at Ivanka's grandchildren or children, Trump's grandchildren. They got tan skin. And Ivanka's got some dark skin too. What is she tan and then using white makeup on her face and bosom? I don't think so. I think it's the other way around. I think she's just using white makeup on her face and bosom. And it's because, and then her kids look like pretty much Middle Eastern. It's because they buy into they play with the propaganda. They allow it to go on, like all this stupid stuff they do. Like Do they railroad people, put them in jail, blackmail them? Probably. They probably have everyone blackmailed. Like, I'm sure they've got all sorts of stuff on me, but they just haven't killed me or couldn't kill me yet. I'm sure they've, got most people in line at the top in some form. It's probably a requirement to get anywhere there. To, like, do something to someone. And then you can never talk about it. But I'm sure it's easy enough to get someone to pass something or do something that's criminal rather than force them to do it. But I don't know, man. You got to watch out for these people though, because they just want to talk about this genital mutilation in the Middle East, and it's bad news because there's this genital mutilation in America, and that the whole point of that is to just make you hate the Arabs. But you should work on these problems you got at your own nation, where you're acting like psychos and chopping off baby penises and turn it into a culture. It's not even just in the hospitals, really, right? It's not even just about that anti-Arab propaganda. It's about like them turning boys into girls and like who I mean into airplanes, battleships, whatever they want to become now, right? And I try to say that jokingly, but it doesn't sound funny when it's really going on. It's like, yeah, okay. And like it's not a funny game. Really. Like is that sacred? Okay. Um Something weird's going on. And it like why are they lying about this other stuff too? See, like look at it. They're just coming at you with lies and deception. So of course, there's some other reason they're doing this besides their gang marking and their cult marking, probably to like lessen the males and make them slaves. I believe it does have something to do with some sort. They think it's a hormonal change, but they're probably lying to you about what they say happens when that happens. It probably turns you into like a slave. I can see that being possible, like something to do with your body. If you chop off your arm, like chemicals grow, or if you go blind, your other senses, they say, get heightened. You know, things. Of course, there's probably if you cut out your pituitary gland, something might happen different. You might grow differently, or you cut out your growth gland, might. I think that is your growth gland. You cut out some of your other glands. I'm sure your lymph nodes. You probably change, alter your body. And they probably know more than what they're saying about what this stuff does because they're so obsessed with it. But they want to make it cool to just completely chop it off and make that like the culture and stuff. Which I guess you should have the freedom to chop off whatever you want, but not when you're 8 years old or 13, I don't think. I'm not sure about that. Maybe I knew what was going on at 13 or should I say 14. Maybe I was aware enough to be an adult at that age. I don't know. But it's, I don't know about this whole, you know, making people do that, especially like in this generation that's grown up on like TV. Like, do they have any thoughts of their own? I probably grew up on TV too. And yeah, I didn't have, I do have thoughts of my own, but it's like a lot of them are like other stuff. Like I find myself singing songs I don't like because you hear it so much. It's just like, I guess I like, you can call me out, but it seems to be a lot deeper thing than just what they're doing, like their gang sign, their cult marking, their anti-Arab propaganda. They claim it's for it does hormonal changes as well, and it probably does. So, I mean, what else could they do it for? I always, for some reason, the number seven always comes to mind. I always say, never do anything for less than seven reasons. So we got slave propaganda, we got cult marking, we got religious branding, we got slave branding, we've got hormone reduction or alteration, we've got disfigurement. There we go, disfigurement. Loss of normal function, loss of reproduction function. So, yeah, we got at least seven things, right? And I could probably easily throw in a couple more. So, there's plenty of reasons that this stuff is allowed to go on for. But I think the slave branding is one of the biggest because it's like part of the culture to like brand your cattle and stuff. I'm not. Do other cultures do that? Probably. Just I know American culture, and I guess we, clip the ears or stuff like that. And we kind of change our house cats and dogs too. We change ourselves. I know I try to. I guess maybe not everyone does. But I'll like cut off like dead parts of skin and stuff and reshape my hands, like among many other things. And I try to repair stuff that's broken. I'm trying to strengthen my bones and nails with minerals. So there's a lot of reasons why they would do that, but disfigurement's another one to change the natural look of the person into something that doesn't look natural. But to look like a slave too, to look like a slave. Ew, it makes you feel weird, man, because it's like, ew, dude. I never realized I was raped as a child. But when you learn that it's not normal what they do, then you're like, oh, huh. Like, but it's normal to you because you do it, right? Because it's done to you. It's like, oh, I got a head, so that's normal. You're like, why don't you have a head? That looks weird. That's odd. I said head because I'm talking about heads. Makes you wonder that thought coming out during this discussion if that doesn't have like some deeper meaning I should be looking into. Like I was talking about heads, but then the head is where your brain is too. Huh. I'd say, oh, they worship the phallus symbol and they've like decimated yours. And it's got to be something to do with that. I wonder if like it really does hold like supposedly it is the most sensitive part to cut off, and it probably does produce like lots of hormones and stuff. Who knows? Maybe that's how they conquered like certain groups of people too, is by doing that, and then it like reduces their ability to fight back or something, reduces testosterone production. I mean, look at what happens to these empires over and over, and they're definitely doing it in this one. I don't know if they did it in the other ones. But reduction in tests probably would mean something else. But who knows what it does? But they're probably like I don't even like talking about this stuff really. That's why I've like not released the video on it. But I have posted on it at other places, not a lot. But yeah, it's weird. It's a sensitive subject. You know what I'm saying? To have some pedophile brand you as their slave. It's like, it's uneasy, and it really makes me. It's making me uneasy to fucking talk about this and know, like, probably put the video out. I don't usually put my videos out. I just make them. Um, usually not happy with them. So yeah, that gets weird thinking about this stuff. Like, realizing like, wow, wow. It's not every day I just let someone fucking touch my dick and fucking cut me up and call me a slave. It's not every day I want to acknowledge this. Like, I don't really want to. I'm kind of just now coming to terms with it. I didn't notice that before, like, because I apparently didn't, but it's kind of weird, man. It's like, it's scary because when you start to realize it, you start to look around at other people and they're like, you're in on this, aren't you? And it's like, wow, how much are you in on? It's like I said, the cops are defending the doors of these places, and then the court systems are definitely defending them, and the military is defending them, the FBI, the CIA, the politicians. It's just like perfectly standardized. And I'm just like, this is weird shit y'all do. Like playing with baby dicks and stuff. I never thought of it that way because I don't think of dicks a lot. So I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't even get to the point where I'm thinking of like chopping a dick off. It's like, I don't even want to think of dicks. Like, that's not normal, son. I mean, for me, maybe it is for you, right? Thank God it is for some women. But not for me. And that sounds weird too, but if you told me it was normal and you didn't point out to me that it exists, if it's normal like breathing, then you don't really notice it. And you're just like, oh well. Like, like I accept the fact that there's differences in people and how they're treated in this town. I can't do anything about that. I can't make one group act different towards another. I'm just one person. It's like one 13th largest city in the empire. So it's actually pretty big. But I can't do anything. Even though they got large numbers, they keep out the other people. Like, I guess both sides or all sides do that. But why are they really doing this? Because it just, yeah, hey, that is quite an accomplishment. I made my enemy chop his children's penises off and brand them as my slaves. Like, that sounds hardcore. Like, that really does. I mean, if you told me you did, if you told me you went to your enemies and made them chop their children's penises off, I wouldn't be like, whoa, like, you sound like a pussy. I would be like, okay, yeah, maybe you shouldn't tell me about that. And, yeah, I don't not believe you, dude. I'm not going to insult you if you're telling me you're doing that. It does sound kind of hardcore. When you think of it, I'm not saying I respect it, but yeah, goddamn. I'll come back with an army before I try to disrespect this person because that shit, you know, could be some problems if you say something out of line to people doing stuff like that. So it does look like it's like pretty hardcore. Like, that's a good reason to focus on number one alone. Like if you really want to laugh at your enemy, do this stuff. And they'll be like, okay, I like chopping baby penis. But there's almost always seems to be some sort of hidden meaning to some of the stuff they do, like, because they can do whatever with their control. That is pretty funny, though. I guess I can't look for much deeper meaning than that. I mean, on a sick level, that's like hardcore and funny. If you really want to laugh at someone, may be no better way. But it's all done for like that multitude of reasons and probably more. Probably more. But you can't listen to any of it. You've got to when they tell you stuff like to hate the Arabs or hate blacks, you got to realize like you need to focus on you and uh, you know help those around you. And unfortunately, some of these people are just scum, and they like act pure scum. So you gotta avoid those people around you. But there are other people who make mistakes, and then they're not gonna be perfect. But as long as they can work stuff out, then those are probably the good people you should be around. The only perfect people I met were people who didn't do anything, and that could be because I just never seen them do anything. So, and passive aggressive people, that's another perfect people. So unfortunately, getting sent to those government re-education centers, you learn about humans and stuff. I'm not like they really want me to control people, just like they do. Just like they do. Makes you wonder if they send people like me to classes like that. I bet you they send politicians to classes like that, like psychology courses and talking courses, because they just seem to be. They said that about who is that? He speaks so well. Who they say that about? Colin Powell. Yeah, it was Eddie Murphy and Raw, I think. Or he did it several skits. Talking about Colin Powell speaks so well. He speaks so well. Anyways, you gotta focus less on these differences between you and other groups, and you gotta start focusing on what you can do to change you and those groups around you. Because that alt-right, they want to, and all these groups, even the liberals will do it in their own way, and libertarians, they make you like want to go up against and spend your time worrying about these other groups. But the main key thing here is making it so you can outthink them, making your group better. Your group. Make that better. That's how you could really become a supremacist or something like that. And if you go to some of these sites promoting some of this ideology, they just want you to like hate. And it's like, I can tell you, you need to really avoid hate. You need to really avoid it. It's not like some natural positive energy. It's not healthy. It doesn't feel healthy at all. I try to avoid adrenaline, yet alone hate. Hate will really jack your adrenaline up. I guess I don't try to avoid it, but it'd be nice if I could someday. I'm lying. I try to not do anything because shit gets so fucked up so fast. It's like I'll just sit right here and not move for the rest of my life. That way y'all can't like fucking get up on me and like play with my baby penis or anything again. It's like, don't want that to happen again. Don't want to go outside and have my neighbors fucking try to steal my car again. Okay, so moral of the story, they're lying again. You just can't listen to their hate. And anyone promoting hate too much is not like on steady ground. They're not there to teach you to like love your own people or anything like that. Like the people promoting anti-Arabism to USA through the recent insurgence into Europe, or whatever you want to call that. Through that, they're pushing that hate into American minds, but it really doesn't exist. But they're just making it like this, and sure, they exist in America. Everyone exists over here in USA, at least in my city. But you can't focus on them, and you got to run away from these places eventually. Like they call it white flight. Like if a place gets old, you just naturally leave it. I don't think that's ever like some new plan. In fact, it even says in the Hebrew learning that you're not supposed to hang on to a land. It says like pretty much if they want to have war over land, just leave the land. It's the opposite of Israel, of the current Israel.